What is going on, YouTube? I am Prepper Princess, the author of Living on Almost Nothing. If you are interested in purchasing my book, I will leave a link down in the description box below. We got some crazy stuff going on. Port strikes on the East Coast, everywhere from Maine down to Texas. So there are no imports coming in. On the West Coast, the West Coast dock workers, or everything from the north to the south on the West Coast, has said that they will not accept shipments that are typically taken in on the East Coast in order to support their co-dock workers. So they're not accepting those things on the West Coast. So a lot of people are asking what products are affected, what companies are affected, and pretty much every news company out there has said, hey, everybody don't panic. And what did everybody do? They panicked. Most stores on the West Coast, from what I'm getting online, are basically out of toilet paper and water. What is the deal with toilet paper? I will go ahead and get into the toilet paper thing at the end of the video. So let's go ahead and go over the products, the specific products that are going to be affected by these port strikes. And just so you all know, for every 1 day that the ports are closed because of the strike, it takes approximately 1 week to catch up. So if the port strike lasts for a week, you are looking at 7 weeks of recovery time. If it lasts for a month, you're looking at 7 months of recovery time. If it lasts for a year, you're looking at 7 years of recovery time. I hope that makes sense. So number one, imported perishable fruits like bananas, pineapples, mangoes, and so on. These are perishable fruits. So if you all have your fruit cocktail in a can at home, it's not really or if you live in a climate like mine where it grows a lot of fruit, it's not something that you need to really worry about. But if you do like bananas on your breakfast, go buy some bananas. Number two, this was the one that scared me, coffee. So most of our coffee is imported. We hardly make any here in the United States, and coffee is going to be a big thing. Fortunately, over the last few months, I've been stockpiling. I think I counted last night that I have 14, big number 10 cans of coffee. So I'm okay on coffee. Number three, imported alcohol like beer and wine. There are still a lot of beers made here in the United States. I looked up a list last night. The only ones I can remember that are popular are Sierra Nevada Pale Ale and Budweiser. There's tons more. There's tons more that are made here in the United States, but I just can't remember them all because, as you all know, I don't drink alcohol, so I can't really remember those types of things. But imported alcohol like beer and wine. So if you want your Cuban rum, your Cuban spiced rum, your Captain Morgan, or I don't know if that comes from Cuba or Puerto Rico, but if you want that sort of stuff, go grab yourself a bottle. Number four is prescription medications. I believe it's 91% of prescription and over-the-counter medications like cold medicine, Advil, Tylenol, all come from China. And if you don't have these stocked up, go ahead and go out to your local apothecary or your Walgreens or Rite Aid, pick up some, cold medicine or I don't know, whatever everybody uses. I typically use natural means in order to get over a cold, but sometimes you need a little boost. So go ahead and head out for that sort of thing. When it comes to prescription medications, those are through your doctor, and they should be able to appropriately have the correct amount, and I'm sure that they'll ship them in from the West Coast because when lives are at stake, that's really important. Number five is chocolate. I guess we have a lot of imported chocolate here in the United States. I thought that Hershey used to be off of Highway 120 here in California, but they moved. But I don't think that they moved overseas. But anyway, chocolate's going to be on the list of things that might be in short supply. Number six, car parts. So if you maybe have a light bulb out or you had some small repair that you needed to make, now might be a good time to do it because we don't know how long this is going to last. And if it lasts a long time, you might be dealing with that issue with your car for a long time. And if that happens, you could mess up the engine. So if you've got anything that you need to do, I personally need to do an oil change. So I'm going to go out and get some oil and a filter. I should be fine. Number 7, furniture. So furniture. What else is there to say about furniture? I mean, okay, there you go. Furniture. Number 8, raw materials like wood. So think Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace Hardware, lumber, things that you need to build things. So if you wanted to build something made of wood, now might be the time, or you can wait, whatever. Number 9 is clothing. So we do a lot of importing of our clothing. I think it's like a huge percentage of our clothing is imported. If you're like me and you shop at thrift stores, it doesn't really affect you. So clothing. We all have enough clothing in our closets. We look in our closets and they're so full and we're like, I have nothing to wear. We're fine. Number 10 is toys. So there is a big thing about the upcoming shopping holiday season where people are worried that they're not going to be able to get toys for their kids. That's all I got to say about that. Number 11, tires. So if you've got a car, an e-bike, e-trike, you've got a scooter, might be hard to get tires because the tires are made from rubber and the rubber is imported. So that's a tough one. And the last one is number 12, which is seafood. So I went ahead and went out last night, 2 nights ago, 3 nights ago, a few days, whatever. I bought a couple of bags of shrimp because I like shrimp, but I can do without it. But if you are big on seafood, you love your seafood, you love your shrimp and your mussels and your seafood, go out and get some seafood. The companies that are going to be most affected by these port strikes is going to be Walmart, Target, Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace Hardware, and furniture stores like IKEA. Costco's not really, I mean, yeah, they're already out of toilet. The funny thing about toilet paper, we all saw this happen in 2020, but like 95% of toilet paper is made here in the United States. So we're not running out. Another thing about toilet paper is I bought a bidet during 2020 and the need for toilet paper is pretty much non-existent. That's when you can move to just, take an old t-shirt, cut it up into rags, and then every time you use the bidet, you're pretty much just using the rag to dry off, and then you can go ahead and throw it in the washing machine whenever you get a chance. I highly, highly recommend a bidet. Is this something that we as a society need to freak out about? No. I don't think that this is going to last as long. It's not going to be like a year-long process. I don't think it's going to last that long. And even if it does, it's not like we're losing infrastructure. We're not losing satellites or internet or roads or, hospitals or energy, electricity, gasoline. We're not losing those types of things. And those types of things are pretty much the backbone of what makes our society tick. And we're not losing any of those things. These are not necessarily luxury items, but, instead of bananas, maybe you can go with something more local, pineapples and mangoes, maybe apples and carrots, those types of things. Pears are just switch one for another. And when it comes to coffee, I mean, I make my own Starbucks type drinks, and I can do it with the cheapest coffee you can imagine because I have a very specific system that gets rid of all of the bitter flavors. I don't even want to get into it. And if you're asking if I'm going to make a video, I've already made several, so good luck finding that. So this is not really that big of a deal. I don't think that people should be freaking out about it. I can't believe that they went out and grabbed toilet paper again. It's like they think the end of the world is coming and they're like, I need a way to wipe my butt. That's the most important thing on earth. Like, come on. So, don't freak out about this stuff. It's in my opinion, I mean, most strikes last 2 weeks or less. If you look up there was a railway strike from, I think it was 8 years ago, and there was a different port strike from like 11 years ago. And both of them solved themselves within 2 weeks. If this thing goes for a long period of time, it still doesn't seem like a big idea because, furniture, I mean, just live with what you've got until the strike is over. And beer, we have beer here. It's switching, Modelo for Budweiser. So we have alternatives. We do have our own manufacturing system, and we can still import from Canada and Mexico without the need for those ports. And we can also import on the West Coast. So if worse comes to worse, we'll import it on the West Coast, and then we'll drive it over to the East Coast on big trucks. Because again, this does not affect our infrastructure, gasoline, anything like that. When it comes to inflation, we are living in the last few years in like almost near hyperinflation, and we all know that companies will take advantage of the citizens if they can get away with it. So bananas might go from 45 cents to $4. We don't know, but let's be honest, we can't blame greedy corporations, because if there's a power outage and I have extra gasoline, do you think I'm going to be giving it away for free? Do you think I'm going to be, if all of the gas stations are closed and I am the only person with gasoline within the next 500 miles, do you think that I'm going to be selling gasoline for $2 a gallon? No, I'm going to be selling it for $20 a gallon because it's worth more than its normal amount. So I don't blame companies for price gouging. I don't blame, I think that it's morally wrong, but I would kind of do the same thing, to be honest with you. There's no reason for me to be the good guy when I can make a profit not being the good guy. That sounds horrible. It really does. It sounds awful, but it's true. I think that, when people have, and everybody does that, when people have like a Pyrex set from the 1970s and they know that somebody wants it and their grandma bought it for 50 cents and they're selling it for $100. Yeah, that's just kind of the way it is, because you want the most bang for your buck. All right, folks, don't freak out about this pork strike. Don't go fill it to the rafters because you think that you're never going to see food again. This is going to be a temporary thing. Couple weeks, maybe a couple months, we'll see. And it's not really as big a deal, as the news is making it out to be. If it bleeds, it leads. So they're making it into a bigger deal than it is. Do what you can with what you've got. Prepper Princess out.